War Eagle Auburn fans, welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live. This is a post-game reaction show for the very first basketball game for Auburn men's basketball for the 2022-23 season. And we're going to be here to break it down, react to what we saw, and just celebrate the fact that it's Auburn basketball season, folks. Get pumped. We are here, excited for our very first post-game live stream of the season. Your Tigers win 70-52. We want to hear from you in the comment sections, your thoughts, your opinions, and anything else that you want to share tonight about this game. We're going to jump into that here tonight. As we get started, we always want to remind you to do a few things for us, whether you're watching live or on the replay. Use this as your official check-in period that you are here, that you stop by, post where you're watching from, city, state, or international, and then obviously a War Eagle as well, or whatever the greeting you would like to use out there. Please do let us know that you're here, part of the stream tonight. Also, be sure to subscribe on YouTube if you haven't, because we're doing a subscriber giveaway right now on our journey to 5,000 subscribers. More details in the description. We'll talk about that throughout the stream. But let's get into it right here. Would love to say hello to a few of you that are already popping into the chat. Looks like we got Rise Life already here, just screaming away. War Eagle, Dusty's in the house, loving every single bit of it. So be sure to let me know you're here as soon as you arrive tonight. 70-52. You know, when you look at a first game, there's obviously just the initial hype of it all, right? The excitement of it started again, that first shot, that first alley-oop, that first just general dunk, the first just time that you got in the opponent's head being in Neville Arena. By the way, I'm still going to have to get used to that. I love the name Neville Arena. I know a lot of you don't, but I'm still struggling to not say Auburn Arena every single time. So it's going to take a second to get used to all of that as we go throughout the year. You would think with probably about, 30 plus streams that we're going to be doing with this, we're going to have plenty of opportunities to get used to saying that tonight. Devin's here. Leighton's here. Good to see all of you guys. And so many of you starting to arrive in the chat right now. Dusty says the defense was on point. The shooting needs improvement. It's kind of the basic storyline of a Bruce Pearl men's basketball coach team, isn't it? Rise Live. I noticed that Derek Hall was out there as well. Did you expect anything different? Now, listen, I'm sure there was some grump out there who said, hey, why is he not out there getting ready for the game this week? Look, these guys have been through a bit. Let's just let them have fun. I didn't see anybody saying that, but I can imagine someone was acting that way out there. Feed cut out part of the way through the first half, was able to catch the second half. Yeah, listen, we as a basketball team, we're not firing on every single cylinder tonight. And I'm sure production crews across the country are not firing on every single cylinder either to start off the night. Before I go any further, before I get into other comments and questions here, I do want to remind you guys that for a lot of our post-game reaction shows when we're in studio, we're able to offer our Booster Club members the opportunity to call in tonight. So if you are a Booster Club member, go check the app. Links there available for you. You did not have to take advantage of it, but it's there for you if you'd like to utilize that and have your beautiful face or smiling face show up on the stream tonight. Defense was amazing and need to wait for plays to develop to get open shots to go down. So one thing that I would like to stress, and I think most of you are probably thinking this and you're just sharing your thoughts that you have right now. We should take no definitive opinions away from this game, good or bad, tonight. This is the first time out there. We asked on social media what stuck out to people at halftime and kind of some similar prevailing themes. Some of those where they wish that Bruce would rein them in. This comes from not just this game, but from a history of this. In my book, I'm not a coach for a reason, obviously, because if I was a good coach, I'd be out there being paid oodles of money to do it. I mean, at that level, if I was that good. But if I was a coach, I'd give them obviously some direction, but I'd kind of let them cut it loose, especially at home in this first game. When you are so heavily favored, just let them run wild for a little bit, get it out of their system, and let's try to fine tune it in the next game coming up against Texas Southern, I believe, is the next one that we have. No, not Texas. Is it Texas Southern? It is Texas Southern this Friday. Still trying to get all this in my head. It's going to take a little bit. A sling issue. Wow. Sling usually has a good reputation, so I'm surprised that you had some problems with it. So, George Mason versus Auburn, 70-52. Obviously, continue to drop your comments and questions in as we go throughout the stream. Let me kind of give you just some initial stats to think about, to comment on, to, just kind of run around in your head tonight. Your top scorers on the night: Wendell Green Jr. with 16 points, Janai Broome with 12, and K.D. Johnson with 12 points as well. Chris Moore got off to a hot start, but was not able to break the double-digit mark on points. He sits at 8 at the end of the night. Now, I'm looking down the stat line here very quickly. Minus everybody who got in there at the last minute, and I'm counting Lior Berman in that as well. Everyone who saw significant time scored a point tonight that I can see on there. Trey Donaldson kind of made it a little bit scary there that it wasn't going to happen. He got his points, though, which very happy to see everybody contribute on the stat sheet, obviously, and points-wise tonight. When you're running a rotation of about 10 to 11 guys, it depends on how you see, because I'm assuming that 11th guy would be Lior Berman. He didn't come in till, 2 minutes left. I found that kind of interesting with the Jewish group there and, Bruce Pearl's connection with the Jewish people, that he didn't try to get him in a little bit sooner. I guess I can understand that a little bit. I just thought you might get him in a little bit sooner, especially to kind of play to that audience just a little bit. Lior also has a connection with them as well. Leighton says that hopefully Chance Westry is back soon. He seems like he's missing, seems like a missing piece that can hit the open shots at a higher clip. Well, we're assuming that, right? All we have to go off of is his high school tapes and his few minutes that we saw in the Israel games. I would stress everybody to remember that maybe not just one person is going to fix the shooting woes for Auburn. I think we might see some similar things continue, at least to start off the year, in terms of shooting woes. But there is some good things about being a streaky shooting team. When you're on, you're on. But when you're off, you're off. Tonight was not an off night. You look at the stat line, 3-point wise, 16%. That is an off night, but I don't think that you really needed to be better than that. I wanted you to be better than that. 16%, 4 for 25 from the 3-point arc, and I believe there's only 4 of those made. Let's look and see. I knew Katie made 2, 1 from Chris Moore and 1 from Wendell Green Jr. So your guards, your big scorers tonight, minus Janai Broome. How does that make everybody feel? One of the big concerns this year was that the guards needed to step it up a bit in terms of production. Wendell Green, K.D. Johnson, your probably 2 most prominent guards, do just that tonight. I'll throw Chris Moore in there too, because he is kind of a hybrid guard, more of a bigger. I'm trying to think of his name, and unfortunately, it's not coming to me right now, which is just an absolute shame on my part. So please forgive me for that, Chris. Not Chris Moore, the individual that I'm thinking of. There's a former Auburn player that Chris Moore reminds me a lot of, and maybe I'll get it tonight. If not, I'll get it on the next stream. I just now saw this, Neil. Yeah. So the biggest challenge tonight, the biggest challenge this year is how do you replace not just Jabari, but Walker Kessler and what they bring to the table. Walker Kessler, I don't think anybody's going to be easier to replace, but what we saw from Janai tonight gives me a lot of hope about what he can potentially do to somewhat fill the void that Walker Kessler provided. Saw a lot of things that carried over from the summer that I really liked, but is anybody going to be able to fill that giant void that Jabari left? Probably not, but doesn't mean that this collective can't do an equal amount together that Jabari did on his own. Is Broome's ankle looking better? So there were some interest in terms of his ankle injury that he had coming into this game. If you did notice on the sideline right there, I think it was like minute 6 or something like that left. He got kind of clipped when they were both fighting on the ball going out of bounds in his ankle, and he kind of winced, and he didn't, I want to call it a limp, but he definitely kind of didn't walk as assuredly, you know, as you would like for him to. But the good thing is he got right back out there and kept playing. So for me, that's a good sign right there. He's probably going to be really sore. I wouldn't be surprised if they take it a little bit easy on him in game 2, since it's only going to be what 4 nights away, 3 nights away. I think it's too early to feel this team maybe by the first 10 games. I would say, in my view, that you should hold opinions until you get to conference play, and really honest, not hold opinions. Everybody can have their opinions. I've got opinions. That's why I have a YouTube show. But make definitive decisions about what's the strengths, what's the weaknesses until you get into those first couple of games of conference play, because you're going to face some good competition here in non-conference, but it's not going to be compared to what the SEC is going to do to you. That's going to be really the key right there. And there's a very important beginning to conference play that we're going to see coming up. Neil says, call me crazy, but I don't want Auburn ranked high. Would rather fly under the radar. There is something to that, right? Always feeling like you are getting left out of the discussion. There was a little bit of that, when we got to number 1, it was kind of like, oh, we're number 1. The players maybe didn't feel that way, but we as fans did. Don't want to lose this thing now. So there is something to that. I don't know that Auburn's early non-conference schedule is going to offer them, especially if they run through them, offer them opportunities to launch themselves up in the rankings, minus other teams losing. But we'll see once we get to kind of that West Coast trip, the St. Louis game, things like that. Purifoy, no, that's not who I was thinking of, but comparative, it was almost Deshaun Murray, but Deshaun Murray is still a different type of player because he played like a big man just in a small guy's body, and he was a stout guy, but not like a super tall. I think 6'7" is what he was, but he played much bigger than he actually was. Chris Moore, I think, is 6'6", roughly 6'6", maybe 6'7". I actually like being a defensively focused team. Control the time of possession, give the opponent less opportunities to knock down the shots. May not be as exciting, but it is effective. Well, we are defensively focused tonight. Let's kind of look at some of those stats too to kind of reinforce that. Well, I'm actually shocked. We got beat in defensive rebounds tonight, but we won the rebounding margin overall when you count in offensive rebounds. We had 19 turnovers that we got from them. We only had 9 ourselves tonight. Blocks, have a block party, Dylan Cardwell. 10 total for the team, 14 steals. Just a great defensive performance, especially when you look at it stat-wise. Now, with your point, Leighton, here's the thing. Yes, you want to control the clock, but offensively, that's not, you want to slow it down. But offensively, Auburn doesn't want to do that. They want to run and gun. And it really is something, a beauty to see when it's working really well. So it's kind of like two counterpoints that fight against each other. And I think that's why you probably see sometimes this weird thing that happens in Auburn basketball games, especially of late. This is just the first game this season, obviously, where they look like two different teams in two different games. One, they just kind of lock down defensively and don't pull away. And then the other, they just blow teams out of the water because they were just too fast for them, hitting too many fast break points. It can be done. It's a difficult thing to do on both sides. Porter, no, it's like when I'm trying to think about who Chris Moore reminds me of, it's a guy of similar build, 6'6", 6'7", a small forward type. Chris Porter is not it. No. 10 blocks in the night and caused 19 turnovers. That should be 14. Well, steals, I guess. I'm looking at 14. I guess there are other turnovers as well. Devin, remember, this is your responsibility. You volunteered yourself for this task last year. Every single stream that you can make, we need the updates from you on the tweet score. We're at 359 in the final score tweet. I'm going to be honest, in 15 minutes, that's a disappointment. This is the first game of the season, Auburn Twitter Army. What are you doing only at 359 with 15 minutes? I expected that to be past 500 by now. That'll probably be like 700 by the time the night's over because that initial wave is done. We'll go we put ours out on our Twitter account, but we'll go put it in there and contribute to that when we're done. Hope you guys saw that one. I was waiting to post that one all day. With the first pick, 2023, Houston Rockets select Janai Broome. So let's look at Janai Broome tonight. 12 points, 5 for 11 from the field. He took 1 3-pointer, which he missed. He is 2 for 4 from free throws, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, only 2 personal fouls on the night, only 1 turnover, and that's in 25 minutes of play for him. So he got the second most minutes tonight. What's really interesting about this is to only see 4 guys in 20 minutes tonight. That shows you how much this platoon system is going to work for Auburn. Like, there are going to be a lot of guys rotated. You saw it tonight. Now, as the season goes on, you're going to see that whittled down. You're going to see that slowly become less and less of a thing. It's just the way it is. You're not going to see as many guys rotated. But right now, you're going to have just rotations all game long. Yes, they butt up to the end of conference play. So, yes. Kevlar stepping out already, saying, is Cardwell this year's Kessler? Very similar conversation that we were just having about filling the hole that Jabari Smith leaves with his absence now. No, but collectively they can do that together. I think Cardwell provides you some of the more stout robustness defensively that Walker Kessler provides, his blocks tonight. And Janai Broome is going to give you that scoring ability because Janai's a little bit, skinnier, not as thick of a build. So he's going to be able to do things a little bit more that Walker Kessler couldn't do. And we've seen Walker Kessler do some amazing things. So Janai Broome, I think that 1-2 punch right there. What will be interesting for me to see is how often they're in the game together. If that, it will happen some, but how much? I didn't really think to pay attention to that tonight. Do you guys recall them being in the game a lot together? I don't really remember that because really they are your 1-2 or 1A, 1B centers. Porter was 6'7". Yeah, well, height's one thing, but I'm just talking about body build and stuff like that. But that's not who I'm thinking of. Maybe we'll figure it out at some point this season. All right. You guys who were here last year know one thing that I harp on to the bitter end. What is it, folks? Probably not going to type it quick enough for me to say it. Free throws. Now, at the very end of the game, we made our percentage look a little bit better. 62% on the night, 18 for 29. 80% is my expectation for free throws. They are free for a reason. Thank you, Thomas. You knew. Free throws are there for a reason. They are free. Utilize them. Do not waste them. Several times, this thing could have been, I won't say put away that early in the game, but could become less of a opportunity to be utilized by George Mason to make a small comeback if we had knocked down some free throws. Make your free throws. If I'm going to harp on anything tonight and be overly critical or even overly positive about something, which I'm encouraging us not to do at this point, I will always harp on the free throws. And this is something we saw in Israel. This is something that we saw when the scorecard came off of that UAB exhibition game. Free throws win championships. Champions make their free throws. Make your free throws tonight. So that's not a good percentage, but overall from the field, Auburn's 34% tonight. Not really a lot. in a first game to harp on other than the free throws. Free throws are like kickers. Take the points or you won't win the game. Ooh. That feels like it's something about a recent football game too. Although we can't be too upset with them, can we? Let's see a couple other stats tonight. We talked about rebounds. They lost it by 1 defensively, but overall won it because of just a complete disparity. 10 rebounds offensively for George Mason tonight, 22 for Auburn, 32 points in the paint for Auburn to their 28. It's pretty even, actually, when you look at points in the paint, fast break points. But defensively is where the difference comes in tonight, especially on a night where Auburn was not shooting outstanding at any stretch of the imagination. But defensively, as we've already touched on a lot, is what made the difference in this game. Don't bring that up. You're going to get people started this early in the season. I know we're probably not a high percentage three-point team, but 16% is scary. We need to be around 25%. At least I think 32% is the average. Well, that means you're making 1 out of every 3, right? So that's pretty good numbers right there if you can get to 32, 33%. I wish I could say I'm surprised with that percentage, but I'm not, especially in game number 1. You knew they were going to be firing up. I mean, Katie was just looking for opportunities to throw that one up. Alan Flanagan had a few really good shot or opportunities and good looks at the basket and just couldn't knock them down tonight. What I did like from Alan is him doing a lot of the little things again. We continue to hear that this is his year, and I believe that. Only 3 points tonight for him. In 22 minutes of time, 2 rebounds, only 1 turnover, not really other stats. He's probably, I'm looking at who's got the best free throw percentage. Wendell Green. So, well, let me ask everybody, who's your MVP tonight? Is it Wendell Green? Is it simple as that? Let me know. Or do you have somebody else? It's usually easy when we ask this question on these post-game streams. Who's your MVP? I think tonight is probably one of the easier ones, although I think, Janai could make a case for himself. What do you guys think? Sometimes watching Auburn at the free throw line makes me cross my fingers and cringe. Who are you kidding, sir? As a guy who preaches, lives, breathes, and eats about free throws. So I play basketball once a week and we shoot free throws to, decide who plays first or who stays on the court. If we have basically, free throws are still important even in a pickup series game. And every time I miss one, I get upset with myself because these are gimmies. Champions make free throws. I like the ability to that we showed to draw fouls. So tonight, George Mason gave up 23 personal fouls to Auburn's 16 personal fouls. Now, Auburn got a little sloppy there in the first 5 minutes of the second half. And I think not that it was ever a thing that they were going to come back. I think they got back within 7 points, but they never led at any point during this game. Oh, I didn't realize how close Dylan Cardwell. Well, actually, let's see. Dylan Cardwell tonight. Where's your stats? He only had 2 points, but he had 9 rebounds. I was about to say he was close to a double-double, but I didn't realize how few points he had on the night. Dylan Cardwell, still a man of the people, loves his space there. Devin gives us the update on the Twitter memes. 404 in 20 minutes. That's better. Kind of. Still, I wish they were already at 500. I expect people to kind of take a minute to get there into form. The team needs to get into form. The Twitter mob army needs to get into form. All that being said, a couple of things to note about George Mason. Oduro tonight. If he had gotten on a tear, we might have been in trouble, folks. The fact that we got him into foul trouble so early was a big thing. He looked to be a bit of a player. Only 8 points tonight, but mainly that's because he had to sit for so long. And honestly, I'm shocked that the coach brought him in back as quickly as he did. Guys, we are honored. Dalton Odom, Mike Man, is here watching one live. How are you watching this live? Weren't you at the game? Have you already left? Is everybody piled out of Neville? Or happy you're here? I'm just shocked that you're on one after this because I figured you would be busy right now. Leighton says there were at least 3 to 4 charges on fast breaks that ended with points that got called back. Yeah, I think at least 2 of those that I can remember were KD. Not shocking, right? KD Johnson is what he is. He's our little psycho. You know what you get with him. You're gonna scream, no, 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 yes, 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 all in the same moment, or literally back to back. So I've gotten to a place with KD that I know he's usually going to make up for anything that you scream no, no, no about. But yes, um, charges, things like that you expect in a first game. Now, there was that one charge that was called, I think, on who was the player? I'm trying to think who it was. Was it Allen? But there was one where the guy sidestepped into the paint and the defender slid into his path. That's not a charge, folks. That is not a charge. I was very upset about that one. I love good charge calls. Even I can appreciate a good charge that's taken by the opposite team if it's a good charge. You have to establish your feet before the person arrives to the same location as you. WT's here. Good to see you. Offense looks sloppy at times, but expected for a first game, obviously. Yeah. Yeah. It's not going to look pretty. It's not going to look perfect. I'm not going to mince any words and say that we're going to look just 10 times better, in a couple of games. But definitely you would expect that to not be as stellar offensively tonight. They had someone who was named Victor Bailey. He was at Tennessee the last 2 years. I thought I remembered the name. Then the broadcast brought it up. Well, let's look at old Victor Bailey. 9 points tonight. So he is their second leading scorer tonight. He had 5 rebounds. Yeah, his stat line kind of screams that he probably comes from a different program with a little bit more talent, finding his way down there. But it seemed like Oduro was the guy that they were really leaning on tonight. And at least the broadcast was talking about Cooper. I don't know his first name, but Cooper, if he had gotten going a little bit sooner tonight, I think he hit that 3 with like a minute left, kind of quiet everybody down for just a second. They had gotten a little bit, going a little bit. Maybe this would have been a little bit more interesting. I agree. It was a block party tonight, obviously by Dylan Cardwell a lot, but so good to see it just as a team, right? Some of the block shots reminded me of Shaq. Well, that's a good compliment. Do you mean that for Dylan, or do you mean that just in general for everybody? If we can get an amazing 1-2 punch from Dylan Cardwell and Janai Broom offensively and defensively, or I'll take both if they want to swap for one night. Auburn has the opportunity this year to have the deadliest 1-2 punches at every position. And then some at some positions. Depends on how you want to utilize them. Remember, Chance Westry's not even in this game yet. For those of you that may be asking when he'll be back, the timeline seems to continue to get bumped back, in my opinion. There's never been like an official word. Maybe Bruce will get asked that. Maybe he's already been asked that in the post game, but usually they'll do I think we have a press conference coming up, which we'll post here for you Thursday to preview the next game. I think there he'll probably talk a little bit about, maybe he'll get asked when he's coming back. Oh, you're talking about it in general with them. Yeah. Regardless, some good looking blocks tonight. Good looking blocks. Williams and Flanagan both looked impressive tonight. It looks like they're going to impress this year. I think statistically, when you look at both of them tonight, it's not outstanding, especially Flanagan, but there were a lot of little things. Okay, y'all know how much I love free throws, right? I love a good baby hook. Now, you may ask what a baby, it's just a hook shot. It's kind of like a light little hook shot. Now, what Jalen did was he had his back to the basket and he did this little kind of shimmy move, turned and was kind of in a hook shot motion. But because he got his body around, he was able to almost just kind of like lay it in there from a distance back. It's still a hook shot to me. I love Jalen Williams. He's my favorite player on the team for a variety of reasons. I love guys that pay their dues and are, getting their opportunities still. So I'm going to be rooting for him. And when I see things like that from him, I get super excited about it. Completely agree. This is not to say that this team in one game is ready to take on the world. I see a lot of things in game one that would need to be worked on, but it's game one. What is going to be interesting for us to do as fans, but as a little family within the Auburn family here at E2C Network, is to start taking some of these things that we talk about in game one, see what trends do and don't carry over. So for shooting tonight, right? Shooting tonight, not great overall. 34% from the field. You could do a lot worse, but you can do you could do a lot better. You want to be closer to 50%. 16% tonight from three-point range. You want to see that improve. Free throws, you want to see continue to improve as well. But if we can carry over the defense, if we can carry over some of the small things we did good offensively tonight and improve those percentages, take higher percentage shots more often, be a very deadly team. I did start to get a little bit worried at the end of the half. I've seen teams make impossible shots way too much. Yeah, listen, you don't want to be within earshot at any moment with any team, frankly. There's a reason they call it March Madness. It's not unheard of now for 16 seeds to beat one. So don't assume that any team that's on Auburn's schedule is going to just lay over and die. They won't. That's why football will always be my favorite sport, but basketball is my sport. Like the one that I connect with, the one I see, the one I feel the most, just because I'm not trying to sit here and act like I'm a Mr. Basketball or anything like that. But I truly believe if you're a basketball player, there's this sixth sense that arises in you where the game slows down and you're able to read things and see things before they happen, even if you're not out there. And I believe I have a little bit of that. And I think a lot of people do. That's why they're at least good basketball players or coaches or whatever. Not to say I would ever be one, but my point in saying all that is that I connect with the game on a cerebral level more than I do. Football is a passion thing. Cerebral, it's a chess game to me. I love the game of basketball. Yeah, been harping on that all stream. Any chance Bruce can listen, if that's what it takes to keep Bruce happy, although I don't think he's going to be going anywhere. I don't care. He can do whatever he wants at this point, in my opinion. We are slowing down. Devin, tell them E2C said get on it. 500. We're at 30 minutes and no more than 423s happened. I will add ours as soon as we get off. But, by the way, we will still do. So I'm trying some new things out. Every year I mix things up, right, with content and stuff. Last year we did like the full big video, which were usually no more than 5 minutes, of our favorite tweets, memes from the game. I did it in a shorts video here on YouTube, and it seemed like it still did pretty well. If you guys like that version better, let me know, because it was really just me saying, hey, guys, here are the best memes. Here they are. It's up to you how you would like to have those done, because I know some of y'all really enjoy those. We had a great transition defense, especially on the fast breaks. GM seemed to get shut down. GM. Why am I blanking? Oh, George Mason. Duh. Come on. And have to wait for a play to develop instead of just going straight into the paint for an easy bucket. The big thing that we did tonight is that we just got in their faces early and really unsettled them. And credit again goes to the jungle. Every one of them, students, fans alike. Again, I think it was like the 24th sellout of the regular season, I guess, is what the stat was, or something like that. And you saw George Mason hurrying their shots. You saw George Mason throwing the ball out of bounds, or not making crisp passes, even if they weren't, deflected or anything by Auburn, just kind of throwing it out of bounds. So getting into their heads early was really beneficial for Auburn tonight. I'm trying to think if we haven't hit any other storylines from this game that you got. If you guys have something that we have not hit yet, please let me know there in the chat window right now. Wow, Why do I keep saying Texas Southern is the next game? It's South Florida. South Florida played us tight last year, must play different this next year. Now, remember, this game that we played with South Florida, I believe, was in a neutral site technically, right? Yes. Was the site of the SEC the tournament, and we didn't fare well there when we played South Florida. We didn't play fare well when we played in the tournament. Apparently, it's a really hard on us shooting wise. Listen, I will not underestimate anybody, but it's going to be much different in Neville Arena. Oh no, I don't even want to know. This is a basketball stream. I don't even want to know at this point. I can't even handle it at this point. All right. Other storylines we have not hit tonight, post them in the chat if you can. We're not going away just yet, but we are starting to round down our show. So don't run off, but let me remind you of a couple things. Schedule for the week. Nothing scheduled live stream wise until Wednesday. We will be back together for a Auburn family live stream at 8 p.m. again. We'll be back at our normal time, hanging out with each other. So please be there. Tell a friend. We have great conversations. Calls will be open for everybody that night. We had so many callers last week. I'd love for y'all to fill it. My goal is to one day me never have to say a word and just like y'all talk the entire time. I just sit here and think, how awesome is this? Other things to keep in mind. If you have not subscribed on YouTube, we are on our journey to 5,000 subscribers. We're almost at 3,000, closing in on that number. If you want to be a subscriber, you can and be entered into our subscriber giveaway. You must also leave a comment. Don't forget, folks, if you're watching this live, all you got to do as soon as this ends, go back to the video, go to the comment section, and you can just tell me who was your MVP tonight. And that is an entry into the giveaway. Don't forget that part. You're wasting opportunities into the entry if you don't take advantage of leaving a comment in the comment section. Other things tonight, check out the other links in the description. We have a new channel member today. We actually have a new Booster Club member even last night as well. So thank you guys so much for your support. You don't have to do any of that. All we ask is that you do two things. You smash the like button and you tell a friend. Help them find us and be part of our little family within the Auburn family. All right, so there's my spiel I like to give you guys every single time. And I know y'all get tired of it, but I have to. I see a lot of conversation about the coaching MVPs, Bruce. Remember, you got to post that in the comments section, not the live chat section. So just go back and do that, and you're entered in again. Y'all trying to take over my basketball stream with football talk. I'll go look it up after this and then fret about it and wonder how we got to this point again. All right. So kind of rounding out thoughts tonight. Wendell Green, I think, is your clear MVP on the night, not just because he's the biggest stat thing, but is because he was so well-rounded tonight. That beautiful pass that he gave to Chris Moore where he comes along the baseline there and just kind of does a hook shot basically back over to him. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful pass. I think for that alone tonight. And he was unselfish to start off the game. So Wendell Green's my MVP on the night. Shooting needs to improve a little bit. Free throws. If nothing else, just my mark is 80%. But if I can get it into the 70s, you're going to hear me fretting about it less. That's all I'm asking, folks. Big things to take away, though, is obviously, the defense tonight was outstanding. So those are probably the key marks. Wendell's play tonight, the poor shooting, which we expected, and the defense tonight. Are you not going to do a reaction live stream on Friday? So here's going to be the hard part. Yeah, my answer is yes. My goal is to live stream a reaction show after every game. I am not scheduled to be I will not be able to attend the games as a member of the media this year for a variety of reasons. Well, one reason, but that's not important. So if anybody has extra tickets they either want to give or sell, let me know. But I will be in Auburn this weekend. So my goal is to do a live stream. It's going to be dependent on where I am at the time, how quickly it happens, and stuff like that. We'll see what. Yes, to answer your question, yes. The question is when and from where on campus will it happen? Or in Auburn, I shouldn't say on campus. Impressed with how well Green led the team. Yep. But he doesn't. You getting Allen Green and Wendell mixed up. That's why it threw me off. I was like, Allen Green's not here anymore. He's not even on the basketball team. Cardwell was my MVP. Only 15 minutes, put up 9 rebounds and 5 blocks. Leighton, I think that's fair. I do think it's fair. But when Wendell has been the unsaid leader so far in the preseason for Auburn, like when Coach Bruce Pearl continued to say, I only really know one spot that's secured right now. We all knew it was Wendell. He's the guy that sat with him at SEC Media Days and talked to the national audience. So we really, we knew who that was without even him saying the name. To see him assume that and then actually assume the role was a big thing for me. I'm really excited to see what he continues to do. Do the 5. So it's weird when you guys post like emojis sometimes, not our official emojis that channel members have, but they show up as a weird thing. Unless that is. I don't know what that is. That's weird. I will be at Texas A&M as well. I will. The next stream would be Wednesday. Yes. So our live stream, our Auburn family live stream, the next game isn't until Friday. So that reaction live stream will be Friday. I hope that wasn't confusing. I'm sorry if it was. If only. All right, guys. I think we've had a pretty good stream tonight to start off the year. Don't want to overdo it on the first one. Thank y'all so much for being here. For those of you that came by in the end, we appreciate you coming by and watching the replay. Please do join us. I know you have a lot of options out there for places to consume Auburn content. We want you to be part of our family as much as you're wanting to be and as much as you're able to. So don't be shy. Join in on these streams. Have a good time with us. I'm excited. First one down of the year. It's funny. Last year I started off just doing a weekly update and you guys kept saying, why aren't you doing one after the game? So this is a testament that while you may see me a lot as the face of E2C Network, this is really your network. If you want it, you get it. If you need it, you get it. If it's within my means, my, sleep schedule, I will do it for you guys. So really, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I continue to thank each and every one of you for being here and hanging out with us. Last thing. So I may not have to sneak in there. I will go in there when the public's allowed to regardless, but I will hopefully get to go in before the public. I shouldn't say I don't have an invite yet, but I hope I'm going to get one. I hope so. I am glad to do them as well. I'm glad that you really enjoy them. No more 2 a.m. live streams. We did one. I was super tired and I barely made it the next day. So guys, thank y'all so much for being here, being part of this live stream and being part of our family within the Auburn family. You continue to be the best. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And I appreciate you so much. Stay tuned to the channel the rest of the week. If nothing else, I'll see you on Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time for our Auburn family live stream call-in show. Until then, War Eagle.